Now you should be at the junction of the Miwok Trail and the Murphy Meadow Trail. If you kept going for another minute or two on the Miwok Trail, you'd be at the entrance to the 20,000-acre Los Vaqueros watershed. But we're going to leave that adventure for another time and use this spot to look back into Round Valley and its history. Here's Robert Doyle.
We're at the very end of the valley towards the southwest corner. And it looks like a big flat area divided by the beautiful large valley oaks. So you can really see this is very different than most of the parks. Big meadows, more like you see in the Sierra Nevadas. The special attribute of this park is that it's very enclosed. You hear airplanes, but you see no highways here, no highways. You have no houses on the horizon. Don't even get the wind turbines are over most of East Contra Costa counties. It's really like it would have been hundreds of years ago. I think the only thing that would be different is Mr. Murphy did sculpt part of the valley, so it was easy for him to grow grain crops. And that family farmed for about 100 years. So there's 100 years of agricultural history here.
Let's take our thoughts back to an earlier century, a time when the Spanish first encountered the indigenous people here in the latter half of the 18th century. What they found was a patchwork of autonomous tribal groups. They spoke different languages and skillfully managed the land and waters around them for sustainable food production. According to archaeologist Randall Milliken, a single group might have 3 to 5 villages in an area just a little bigger than San Francisco. 40 to 100 people lived in each village. We don't know exactly which of dozens of native groups in the Bay Area lived in or visited the 3 square miles that is now Round Valley Regional Preserve. But the Volvones, that's V-O-L-V-O-N-S, likely knew this place well. Old Spanish maps named Mount Diablo for them, Cerro Alto de los Bobones, which means high point of the Volvone, and Milliken describes their territory as the Marsh Creek drainage east of Mount Diablo. Native peoples in Central California are grouped by the languages they spoke. The Volvones spoke a Bay Miwok type language, but they shared homeland borders with native peoples who spoke Ohlone and Delta Yokut languages as well. There was a lot of intermixing among these groups, and people tended to know at least 2 languages, and sometimes 7 or 8, including Spanish, English, and Russian. The Round Valley area may have been a place for several tribal groups to gather for what native peoples today call big times. The purpose of such gatherings, says East Bay Regional Park District naturalist Beverly Ortiz, was ceremonial, to make a prayer that you could see, to maintain balance in the world. Native peoples who lived in or near Round Valley likely enjoyed a varied diet of fish, game, seeds, nuts, roots, berries, and leafy plants. Round Valley still has large patches of what some native people today call Indian potatoes, root crops with edible corms or bulbs. They tried to dig these plants in a season and in a way that increased the amount of food in the next year. As they gathered big corms or bulbs, they would leave little ones, loosening and aerating the soil in a way that encouraged their growth. If you're visiting Round Valley in the springtime, keep an eye out for an Indian potato we now call Ithuriel spear. This burst of bright purple flowers on a stalk got its name from Milton's Paradise Lost. In that book, an angel named Ithuriel successfully takes on Satan with a spear with multiple prongs, just like this flower. Round Valley has patches of Ithuriel spear and other Indian potatoes that were perhaps once nurtured by native peoples. Even stronger evidence of a native presence here lies in stone mortars, large rocks with depressions in them that were used to process food. Native people pounded acorns from the oaks along the creek using mortars and pestles, small rocks they held in their hands. They also used mortars and pestles to process chia and red maids, which they made into something the Spanish called pinole, or seed cakes. If you come across a stone mortar in Round Valley, please leave it unharmed to light up this history for others. Next, we turn right, heading northward on the Murphy Meadow Trail. In a third of a mile, that's less than 10 minutes or so, you can turn left to check out the Round Valley Group Camp. Or you can veer right to continue your journey through Murphy Meadow.